The rain poured relentlessly over the dimly lit streets, drumming on the rooftops and washing the city in a silver blur. Somewhere on the edge of town, beneath the flickering glow of an old streetlight, a young man knelt beside a broken-down luxury car. His hands were rough, his clothes soaked, and his breath visible in the cold air. That young man was Arham, the son of a poor mechanic, working late into the night to earn a few extra coins for his father's medicine. He never imagined that this night, this simple act of kindness, would change the course of his entire life. Inside the car sat a woman in her early 30s, frustrated and nervous, tapping her fingers against the steering wheel. Her name was Sara Malik, CEO of one of the city's top automobile companies. The storm had forced her to take a shortcut through this old neighborhood, and now her expensive car had stalled right in the middle of nowhere. She called roadside assistance, but no one was willing to come out in such heavy rain. That's when Arham appeared, drenched, pushing his broken bicycle along the road on his way home from the garage. He noticed her headlights flickering and instinctively rushed over to help. "Miss, you need help?" he shouted through the rain. Sara rolled down her window slightly, eyeing him with suspicion. He looked poor, grease-stained, barely more than 20. "It's fine, I've already called for help," she replied quickly. But Arham noticed the way her hands trembled slightly as thunder cracked overhead. "It's dangerous to wait here, miss." "Let me take a look, maybe I can fix it faster," he insisted, his tone polite but firm. Something in his eyes, an honest determination, made her hesitate. Finally she nodded. "Fine, just be careful." Arham crouched under the hood, water dripping from his hair into his eyes, but he worked quickly. Within minutes, he identified the problem, a damaged alternator cable. Using only a piece of wire from his bicycle light and a strip of electrical tape he carried in his pocket, he managed to temporarily fix it. "Try now," he said, stepping back. The engine roared to life. Sara blinked in disbelief. "How did you—" "Temporary fix," he interrupted with a shy smile. "You should get it checked properly tomorrow." Sara thanked him, offering him some money, but Arham shook his head. "No, ma'am." "It's okay. You were stuck. Anyone would have helped." He smiled and turned to leave, but Sara noticed how he limped slightly, his old sneakers soaked through, and how thin his jacket was against the cold. Something tugged at her heart. "Wait, let me at least drop you home," she said. Arham hesitated, but the rain grew heavier and she insisted. During the short drive, she asked about his life, and he spoke simply. His father's illness, his part-time work at a small garage, his dream of becoming a certified auto engineer one day. "I just love cars," he said softly. "Not for money, but because fixing something broken makes me feel alive." Sara found herself oddly moved by his words. When she dropped him off outside a tiny, leaking house on the edge of the slum, she saw his father waiting under a plastic sheet, coughing. The sight stayed with her long after she drove away. The next morning, Sara couldn't shake off the memory. She went to her office, but as she sat in her glass-walled corner room, she kept thinking of that boy with the spark in his eyes. She decided to visit the garage he worked at. When she arrived, she saw him fixing an old van, humming softly, unaware she was watching. After he noticed her, he stood up, startled. "Ma'am, you again?" he said nervously. She smiled. "I came to get my car checked properly, and to thank you again." Arham blushed slightly but got to work. As he worked, she observed his precision, the care with which he handled every tool, as if every nut and bolt mattered. When he was done, she asked, "Why haven't you applied anywhere bigger? You clearly have talent." He looked down. "No qualifications. Couldn't afford the training." Sara nodded slowly, her mind already working on something. A week later, Arham received an unexpected call. It was Sara's assistant. "Mr. Arham, the CEO would like to see you at Malik Motors headquarters." Arham thought it was a mistake, but he went anyway, wearing his cleanest shirt. When he entered her office, he felt out of place. The marble floors, the scent of expensive coffee, the tall glass windows. Sara greeted him warmly. "Arham, I've been thinking about what you told me. I believe in giving talent a chance. So I've arranged a scholarship for you, full sponsorship for a certified auto engineering program. And once you complete it, you'll have a position waiting here at Malik Motors." Arham was speechless, his eyes filled with tears. "Ma'am, I don't know what to say." "I can't repay this," she smiled. "You already did, Arham. You helped me when you didn't have to. Now let me help you." The months passed, and Arham studied harder than he ever had in his life. His classmates mocked him for his old clothes and his background, but he stayed focused. When his father's condition worsened, he almost dropped out, but Sara helped quietly, covering his medical bills without telling him. Arham graduated with top honors, and true to her word, Sara offered him a position at Malik Motors, not as a mechanic, but as a junior engineer. The first day he stepped into the company workshop wearing his new uniform, he felt the weight of every struggle he and his father had faced, but also the joy of finally being seen for his worth. One rainy evening, almost a year after their first meeting, Sara's car broke down again, this time right outside the company building. Arham smiled when he saw her laughing about it. "Seems like fate repeats itself," she said. He grinned. "Maybe it's just the universe reminding us where it all began." They both laughed, but there was something unspoken between them. A quiet respect, a bond built on kindness and gratitude. Sara saw in Arham not just a talented young man, but a reminder that even the smallest act of compassion can ripple into something extraordinary. Over time, Arham rose through the ranks, designing innovative systems for affordable vehicles aimed at helping lower-income families. Sara supported his vision fully, and together they launched a new division that changed countless lives. The media called it the rain that built a dream. But for Arham, the real success was being able to take his father to the hospital in a car he had designed himself, watching the old man smile with pride. Years later, when reporters asked Sara what inspired her to trust a poor mechanic's son, she said simply, "Because when the world was cold and dark, he showed kindness without expecting anything in return. And that kind of heart is what this world needs most." The story of Arham and Sara became a legend in their city, a story told to remind people that compassion is not a weakness, but a strength that bridges every divide. One night, as the rain fell softly again, Arham stood by the same streetlight where it all began, now under the glow of a company billboard that bore his name. He looked up at the sky, smiled, and whispered, "One act of kindness really can change everything."